Hey, welcome back to the Mr. Excel Netcast. I'm Bill Jelen. Today we have a question sent in by Ethan, and I'm not sure that I have a solution to Ethan's question without using a macro. Let's take a look at Ethan's problem. He says, I have some data in column B, and sometimes the data is short data in column B, but sometimes it's longer data, really long data, and it spills over into column C. And in column C, he has a formula that's pulling some sort of a value, so we'll copy this down. He says, obviously the problem is when the data is really long in column B, I can't see it because it's obscuring the data in column C. And what I would like to do is optionally, if the data in column B is really long, not have the formula in column C. Is there any way to put an if function here that says, if the data in column B is too long, don't display anything in C, so that way we can still see the data that spills over? Well, unfortunately, this doesn't work. If we try an if function, equal if the length, len, of B2 is, let's say, greater than 20, then I want to show nothing, so two quotes. Otherwise, I want my formula, 2 times E2. The problem is that even though we put nothing in as the result, it's not an empty cell anymore, and Excel will only allow column B to spill over when column C is an empty cell. Now, there would be one very obscure, very difficult use of the camera tool where we set up a different dynamic range for every single row. But let's assume that we have 100 rows. It would take you forever to do this. I think this is one where it's much easier to use a macro to solve the problem. I said I was going to try macros about once a week. So basically what we want to do is loop through all the data in column B. If that data is longer than, let's say, 20, then we clear the formula in C, otherwise write the formula in C. I'll switch over to the macro editor with Alt F11, and I'll use Insert Module. I'll call this Fix Them. And what we'll say is for each cell in range B2 to, let's see, we happen to have 6 records today. Of course, you could make this be as wide as you wanted or as long as you wanted. If the length of cell.value is greater than 20, then cell.offset. So in other words, we're currently in column B. Let's go down 0 rows and over 1 row. Dot clear end if next cell. So this tiny little macro will basically run through all of the records in column B. If it's longer than 20, it's going to clear the formula in C, allowing the record to spill. So I'll hit Alt F8 to run that macro, call it Fix Them, click Run, and now you'll see that for any of the places where column B was longer, we're now seeing the end of the data. So there you have it, a short little macro, perhaps 5 lines to solve Ethan's problem. It's a place where the macro language actually allows us to do something that would be very impractical to go through and do manually, but very, very quick to do in Excel. So thanks to Ethan for sending in that question. Thanks to you for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another netcast from Mr. Excel.